think about Shroud popping out, showing his ass, and being like, hey, the Game Awards, like, we got to split up single player and multiplayer stuff.
Ignorance.
I feel like Game of the Year needs to be 2 different categories. I feel like multiplayer and single player competing doesn't make sense. Because it's so easy for a single player game to win, you know? I think they should just make 2. Absolutely it is.
I feel like...
Dude, the last time a multiplayer game won was 2016.
What was it?
Well,
Overwatch.
Okay, wait.
Oh, but they do.
They literally do. Now, I get it. Game of the Year does have a bias towards single-player games. He is correct. They do. I think there's a reason for that. It's because multiplayer games don't leave much of an emotional attachment to you. Like,
they don't push the art form forward.
I would say they do to a degree, but it depends on what it is.
Yeah, it depends
like
on
Arc
what it
Raiders
is.
seems to.
I don't think Arc Raiders does anything that we haven't seen before.
What I'm hearing.
Of generative AI.
The generative AI shit. I think it just does things well from the outside perspective. I'm not playing it because of its use of generative AI. But I just think it's a lot harder for multiplayer games to be in that conversation, mainly just because it's easy to forget the emotional attachment that you have to a multiplayer game, because most multiplayer games get real sweaty. And when it turns sweaty, the general populace gets turned off of the game. Look what happened to Marvel Rivals like this last year, where January, everybody was eating it up. But come April or May, people were like, y'all are a little sweaty. And also it got a little gross with all the, like, objectification of all of its characters. But it got a little like, this is just a porn game now. And I mean, you can look at that, like, really across the board. When Valorant came out, it was a real big pop, real big moment. And then it got too sweaty and people dropped off and stopped caring and so forth. Multiplayer games, I think they tend to leave a bad taste in players' mouths, because at some point you have a bad time playing it because everybody's too sweaty, somebody's arguing, everybody gets toxic, this, that, and the third. So the last time you play a multiplayer game, you probably just didn't have a fun time with it, so you just start forgetting it, like, later on down the line. That doesn't erase how great the game is. You know, Overwatch was the last multiplayer-only game to win Game of the Year, unless you count It Takes Two, which I don't. That's because the game was so good and the pop was so strong that it led to that. But, like,
there's co-op, multiplayer, single player.
Okay, so should we have a section for that too? Co-op multiplayer, and single player. All different sections for Game of the Year? Or no?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
You're opening
the best multiplayer, the best ongoing, those categories are meant to give these games their due, their credit. It's for the same reason we have best fighting game every year, because a best fighting game is very much unlikely to ever win Game of the Year.
So then even Arc Raiders, you don't see them complaining about it.
Exactly, right. Hey man, it's kind of just the tricks of the trade. And again, I've said it, Game Awards, it's a popularity contest. The widest, most accessible, most player-friendly game is more likely to win than your niche game. And every multiplayer game is a niche game because it's pure mechanics, so you have to have a sect of players who like playing that type of game. If I don't like extraction shooters, I'm not playing Arc Raiders. Like, that's the simple fact of it. Or even if I prefer first person to third person, I'm not going to play Arc Raiders. Or I may not play Arc Raiders. Not me, of course, because I play everything. I don't think Shroud's take is, like, the dumbest thing ever. I just think it's a little uneducated. Like, you need to have more broad tastes in order to be a part of these conversations. And I think Shroud has a very selective palette.
Yeah. Didn't he make his name for himself as being an esports player?
Yes.
He's a Counter-Strike guy, right?
Counter-Strike, yeah.
Yeah.
So that this guy saying that's not exactly beyond the pale. It's kind of, if you had to take a bet, you'd probably bet that he would be saying a multiplayer game of some kind is the Game of the Year, because that's what he clearly likes doing, you know? And more power to him. It's just more when he tries to say, like, but saying other people are wrong for not saying Arc Raiders is the best game of the year.
He wasn't being, like, aggressive about it. He's just someone who plays mostly multiplayer games, and he's frustrated that when it comes to the big one, Game of the Year, he's frustrated that multiplayer games don't get their just due. And he's not wrong, but I also think there's a level of polish and a level of intention that comes with single player that it's easier to resonate with than the chaos that is multiplayer.
I don't think in that clip he was being aggressive. He was a little bit aggressive in that clip where he's trying to mobilize his fans and saying, like, "Oh, we cannot let that Expedition game win. It cannot be Expedition. It has to be this."
Dude, we got to make sure that this game wins Game of the Year, by the way. Do not let that Expedition game win Game of the Year. Do not let it. Absolutely do not.
Well, see, even saying that, it's like, okay, so you don't even understand how the voting process works for the Game Awards. So, when he said that, I was like, okay, I know the type of person we're dealing with here.
We all have to band together to make this game win. Us multiplayer gamers are the minority, okay? We are the minority being multiplayer gamers, but I believe we can win. I believe. You just need to tell everybody. I've never voted for anything ever, but I think I'm going to vote this year.
That's not who makes them. That's not who makes the choices, bro. Like, yes, the fan vote is accounted for, but it's accounted for 10% of the vote, which I think is plenty. Like, I think that's totally fine. I do wish the general populace had more say in the nomination process. I don't know how you would do that though. Like, and now you gotta deal with bots, and you gotta deal with, fake accounts and so forth.
Because
Like that's a tricky thing to deal with.
That's exactly it, right? Like, however much power you would give the fan base, it would be abused. It would be abused. There's just there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It would be abused. People would make any kind of bot to be like, oh, vote for this fucking 10,000 times or infinite times or whatever.
Throw AI in the mix.
Exactly.
A mess.
Exactly.
A mess. And also, like to play devil's advocate, we have on this channel repeatedly said, hey, the Game Awards are not perfect. Like, it's a flawed system. It's a popularity contest. Sometimes they get it wrong. I think when It Takes Two won, they got it wrong. Like, that's my opinion. But that's how the cookie crumbles, man. Sometimes people vote and it doesn't turn out the way you want it to turn out. Happens to all of us, But I think you got to deal with the best that you can get. I think the Game Awards is probably the best you can get in terms of a mainstream award show, especially an award show that also doubles as an announcement show, So I think the Game Awards is pretty good, not great. I think if you want something a little more like gamer-y, then go watch DICE. Like, there's other award shows. It's just the Game Awards is the biggest one because it also has the announcements on it. So we all go to watch the new God of War reveal at the Game Awards alongside who won Game of the Year there, So, like, it's marketing.
I just think single-player games always win Game of the Year, and it's bullshit. Fucking, like, what, couple million people play that game? Cool, bro. Where's the tens of millions? Where's the Marvel Rivals, 50+ million people?
But Expedition 33 is a turn-based RPG. Everybody can play it. Everybody can be good at it. And it delivers a very powerful emotional narrative that sticks with players. That's why its legacy gets carried out throughout the year, is for that reason.